before the internet was even invented, and now he has left his mark on Montana.
Late start still seen as a good idea for Missoula schools, but bus costs are a problem.
And the White House lays out a plan for an immigration deal.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. Frenchtown School District leaders are denying that they ignored reports a high school music teacher was sexually assaulting students.
That statement, contained in court documents filed this week, sets the stage for what could end up as a trial in federal court. MTN's Eric Clements joins us in the studio now with more in this ongoing case. Eric.
Jill, Dennis, school district attorneys made that statement in response to a lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court. That lawsuit filed in Missoula against the school district and Frenchtown Superintendent Randy Klein for the assaults attributed to teacher Troy Basher. The suit claims the district didn't stop Basher from harassing and groping the anonymous student named in the suit even after she complained. But the district's attorneys say they did investigate reports back in 2015 that a student was feeling uncomfortable around Basher, with an additional report last year. However, they say the defendants deny they failed to take measures to protect female students at Frenchtown High School, saying the assault claims are unsubstantiated. And they say there were no allegations against Basher as early as 2014 and deny multiple students reported uncomfortable or harassing behaviors from the teacher. The district also maintains its staff promptly and adequately investigated and responded to all allegations of harassment, bullying, and threats. And attorneys say the defendants lack sufficient knowledge and information about the students' distress and decision to leave the district, so they're also denying those allegations. However, the district does admit that Basher texted the student and others, played games with the girl on her smartphone, and friended her on the choir's Facebook page. The brief also addresses whether the student's name was shared on social media or bullied in the weeks after the case came under investigation by the sheriff's office, when people were rallying to the teacher's defense. The district also admits Klein wrote a letter to the student's parents saying, quote, "Mr. Basher did violate boundaries with your daughter," but said the district could not substantiate allegations of inappropriate sexual contact. The attorneys also say Klein sent a press release to the Missoulian, but claims it was the newspaper that decided to publish it as an opinion piece. No court hearings have been scheduled in the case yet. Jill?
All right, Eric, thank you. Basher is also facing misdemeanor criminal charges in Missoula County. Broadwater County suffered another loss after a crash killed one of its detention officers. 19-year-old Dominic Stefano died in that head-on crash with a semi-truck on I-90 near Beavertail Hill yesterday afternoon around 3. He was driving his pickup westbound on the interstate when he went through the median into oncoming traffic and hit the semi. Stefano died at the scene. His passenger was hurt, but the semi-driver was not seriously injured. The Highway Patrol is still trying to determine what happened. Now, Stefano was a detention officer for Broadwater County in Townsend. Last spring, the department experienced another tragedy when Broadwater County Sheriff's Deputy Mason Moore died in a shootout with the suspect. 2 people died in an early morning house fire in the south central Montana community of Immigrant. Crews responded to the home after a neighbor called 911. Once they got there, firefighters tried to make contact with anybody who might have been inside the home, but no one responded. And it was after that fire was put out they discovered the bodies of 2 people and their dog inside that home. Authorities have not publicly identified the victims. The Park County Sheriff's Office and a state fire marshal are investigating.
A man who showed us the joys of skiing long before GoPro cameras and YouTube is gone. Warren Miller died at the age of 93 in Washington, his home in Orcas Island in the San Juans. Warren Miller's first feature film, Deep and Light, was released way back in 1950. Since then, the filmmaker has been an icon around the world, and especially here in Montana. His films have captured the beauty of Montana. Films like No Turning Back featured footage from places like Discovery and Lost Trail. Miller also appeared in one of his more recent films, Here, There, and Everywhere, which featured Turner Mountain and Seeley Lake. Along with making films here in western Montana, Miller also made many a movie premiere night right here in Missoula at the Wilma Theater. Miller's love for Montana revolved around its great skiing, but also the freedom the state has to offer.
All the places I've ever been on skis with my camera, I settled in Montana. I think it revolves around that simple word called freedom. And the state is so big that, you spin around in a 360 and there's freedom in every direction.
Miller made more than 500 films in his career before selling his company to his son, who later sold it to Time Incorporated. A memorial service is planned at the Big Sky next week, but details have yet to be released.
The trial of a Flathead County official who is accused of killing trees at a public park near his Whitefish Lake home is delayed again. Flathead County Commissioner Phil Mitchell pled not guilty to felony criminal mischief last year after a county parks employee discovered 6 dead cottonwood trees next to Mitchell's home. Now, prosecutors say Mitchell admitted he poured Roundup on one of the trees because he says they were, quote, a substantial nuisance. He apologized. He offered to pay restitution or even plant new trees, but his trial is now scheduled for February 26th. Mitchell was elected to the Flathead County Board of Commissioners in 2014. He previously served on the Whitefish City Council. Well, in the Missoula area tonight, we had a lot of snow that caused the roads to get pretty slick out there and a lot of big flakes. Here's Aaron Yost now to take a look at the system that's causing this to happen. Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, and that did prompt some severe driving conditions to be reported by MDT from Missoula southward towards the Florence and Stevensville area. Since then, those have been lifted. Still dealing with snow-covered roadways, though, after that nice line of snow showers rolled on through. This was earlier today in Hamilton. First Security Bank ICAM, something we're going to have to get used to. A view of those clouds. Still dealing with that line tracking across west central Montana. Because of that, we have had winter weather advisories issued. Those are out through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. This does include the Missoula and Bitterroot valleys, where we could see 1 to 2 additional inches, making for some slick roadways. More of that is on the way along with your forecast.
Missoula County Public School District leaders are running into a snag with that idea of shifting to a later start for high school classes. It centers around the huge cost of changing bus schedules to accommodate a shift to late start for the district's older students. For a couple of years now, MCPS administrators, faculty, and parents have been working on the idea of changing Missoula's high schools to a later start time, perhaps as late as 8:40 in the morning. Research shows teens can be more productive and learn better with the extra 40 winks, especially when they're frequently up late finishing homework. But School Superintendent Mark Thane told the school board this week a newly completed transportation study shows that could throw a monkey wrench in Beach Transportation's finely timed 3-tier system. Currently, buses drop off high school students between 7:25 and 7:30 a.m.
That affords them the time then to cycle back around and utilize all those buses to run the elementary and middle school routes. So many of those buses will cycle, run a middle school route, drop students, then cycle a third time and run an elementary route and drop those students at their schools. So there's a tremendous efficiency that's gained by using 3 tiers of transportation with a single bus.
The study looked at 5 different scenarios, but Thane says in all cases, there doesn't appear to be a way to tweak schedules for high school late start without adding buses.
In all scenarios, you have to eliminate the 3-tier system. The best you can come up with a 2-tier system. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because if you have a later high school start time, in order for those buses to get to the outer reaches of the county and get students back in, they can't run an elementary or middle school route first without creating a huge separation in time.
Even under the best option, there would have to be 14 additional buses, costing $44,000 a year for each bus route.
We would be challenged to add $616,000 to transportation. That would be borne almost exclusively by local taxpayers.
However, Thane says he's not ready to give up on the idea because of the health benefits for high school students with late start.
This is not a topic that we want to put to rest with any discussion we have today. I think it's something we need to keep actively working to pursue in some way, shape, or form.
Trustees agree with Thane, and they're expected to have further discussions on how to approach the balance between a late start and transportation costs in a future work session.
Open Doors will welcome the homeless in Missoula tomorrow with haircuts, dental care, and employment information. It's at the 12th annual Project Community Connect event. The At-Risk Housing Coalition will host numerous services for those who are homeless or at risk of being homeless. Participants will be able to get haircuts, medical care, clothing, housing, and employment information, along with many other things they may need. More than 75 nonprofit service providers, local businesses, churches, government agencies, they all come together every year to ease the stress of our increasing homeless population. Last year, this annual event cited 542 Montana families who are without a home. Teresa Williams is the At-Risk Housing Coalition coordinator. She says that this event is for one day where we can offer hope, community, and compassion to our most vulnerable Missoulians, either on the edge of homelessness or who are literally experiencing homelessness, in a simplified one-stop service event. This year, the event has been relocated to the Zootown Church. That's at 3623 Brooks. It will be held from 10 until 3. It is free to all participants and you do not need an appointment. From bears to balloons, this will be the perfect weekend for film buffs as the Flathead Lake International Cinema Fest makes its return to Polson. The festival, now in its 6th year, is starting to pick up steam and attract more films and more international interest too. This weekend, festival goers will be able to enjoy a wide variety of productions, from short, dramatic, and amusing films to longer, feature-length productions. Entries come from here in the Northwest, but also from overseas directors. And organizers say they've organized this 3-day festival so people can experience a broader variety of films than they might see from your regular streaming services.
The beauty of it, I believe, is that there's just so many different things, and the blocks are arranged so that there might be a block of shorts, and then maybe one block is simply one, complete feature. And then there's animations, and we have some Montana-made stuff. We have 15 countries represented. We have 22 filmmakers coming to the festival.
You'll also get a chance to talk with some of their filmmakers about their product. The Flathead Lake International Cinema Fest is based at Showboat Cinemas in Polson, runs Friday through Sunday. We have a link on our website with all the information you need for the scheduling and the ticket information, so just head to KPAX.com.
Coming up, we'll be heading outdoors to build another snowman. Aaron is back with the rest of your weekend forecast coming up.
And later on the newscast here, the White House laid out plans for an immigration deal that would include an eventual plan to some citizenship. We'll be back here on KPAX.